I could have said that, but I said, you know what? I'm not responsible for the fact that I was born to teenage parents, but I am responsible for not getting what I need to get right now to make me the man that I need to be to take care of my responsibilities. Yo, what's going on? This is Virgil. And the title of today's video is using DiSC to increase your income. What if I told you that the key to increasing your income was hidden in plain sight and you've been missing it all along? Today, I'm going to share with you how you can find what's hidden so you can increase your income. About a year ago, when I was on my journey, learning how I can apply what it was that I learned from the DiSC to my life in order to create an income, I realized that I had to find a group of individuals who needed what it was that I was supposed to be doing. So I figured out what it was that I was supposed to be doing. I figured out that I was supposed to be using my gift of teaching and speaking to inform other people about the information that I researched and that I learned. Typically, the information that I love to research and learn is information that helps other people improve their lives. And I'll give you all an example or two later on in this video. So when I understood that I'm supposed to be here helping men, I then had to figure out how exactly can I help men? So I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I know who I'm supposed to be helping. The next thing is, why am I supposed to be helping them, or how can I help them? So I did a survey on a group of men. The main two things that men want is how to make more money, and specifically how to make more money so they can take care of their children, not just now, but also in the future as well. What I continued to hear from men is that they wanted a consistent way to make more money, and they consistently wanted to make more money so that way they can take care of their children in the present as well as in the future. The first question I asked myself after doing that survey was, what is the easiest and fastest way to make more money? Once I did my online research, they came back with the usual suspects: stock market, drop shipping, FBA for Amazon, online reselling, real estate, card cracking. Like, I came across so much information, including the infamous vague start a business. The issue with these is that most men are skeptical of all of these things. So I had to keep digging. When you ask most men what it is that they want to do, or when you present these opportunities, the most men, it's always some form of skepticism with them. When it comes to the stock market, they think the stock market is gambling. When it comes to starting a business, they think starting a business is too risky. When it comes to doing FBA or online, setting up an online store on, say, Shopify, something like that, because they aren't informed about what it is, then they kind of shy away from it. All of these things are things that men aren't necessarily interested in doing from the beginning, from the get-go, just off the top of their head. They're like, it's too much risk involved. I'm not too educated on those matters, so I'm going to stick with what I know. Now, around this time, I was going through my own self-discovery journey. Real quick, stop hating the trials and tribulations that you all are going through. I speak to a lot of people, and when they go through something, it's like you all have a hatred for the trials and tribulations that you're going through. Can I tell you all the secret? Your trials are the thing that's bringing to you that in which you yearn for. For those who lift weights, and this is an analogy I've been using for years, you don't get stronger sitting at home eating chips and watching television. You get stronger by being in the gym, pumping the weight, pushing the weight off of your chest. Sometimes you drop the weight on your chest. Sometimes you drop the weight on your neck. Sometimes you can't lift the weight and you got to put it down. You might fail. But I very rarely see people go to the gym and hate the fact that the weight is heavy, because they understand the heavy weight is what's making them stronger. So why can't we take that same thought process and apply it to our life? It's like as soon as any type of weight from life gets thrown on us, we want to complain. No, I'm going to say complain. We want to run. We want to avoid it. We want to do all of these different things that don't contribute to us lifting the weight of life. And I want to get into this because it's like on this self-discovery journey, the heaviest things in my life happened to me, but it's because of the heaviest things in my life that I became the individual that I am. My wife and I got into a car accident. My wife was pregnant. We got into a car accident. And from that car accident, there was a span of about 4 or 5 months, almost 6, where I couldn't walk. And when I tell people that, it's almost like they want to have pity for me. But I'm like, I don't want the pity. Because as I was laying in that bed, now let me preface this. Let me preface this. I could walk, but I could not walk. And I'll say this, and I've said this before. My back injury, because I was overcompensating at first, what ended up happening, because I'm trying to be tough guy, Mr. Macho. I want to suck it up, be strong. I ended up tearing my glute muscles. So I could walk, but whenever I would walk, someone was stabbing me and setting my legs on fire. So the only time I would walk is if it was absolutely necessary. Other than that, I would take a few steps and I would fall to the ground. So I don't want people to tell, oh, he couldn't walk. No, I could walk, but I couldn't walk. If I walked, I would fall to the ground. I would have to crawl to the bathroom. So I would be in the bed days and weeks at a time. And in that time of me being in the bed, this is why I don't want pity. Because at that time of me being in the bed, that was the first step of me achieving self-mastery. And that first step was self-accountability. Now, a lot of you all are like, hold on, self-accountability? How could you blame yourself for that circumstance and situation? Yes, I was hit, but this is where I take full accountability. I hadn't fully been taking care of myself. I wasn't working out like I was supposed to. I wasn't eating how I was supposed to. So because I wasn't eating and working out how I was supposed to, my body wasn't at its full strength. So my back going out, my muscles going out. Had I been where I was supposed to be, working out, being in shape, maybe my body doesn't have the reaction that it had. Maybe my back doesn't go out. Maybe my disc don't slip. Maybe I don't have degenerative disc disease. Maybe my glutes don't tear. Maybe they still do. However, I didn't do everything that I could to ensure that that didn't happen again. I'm sorry, that didn't happen. So that was my fault. Also, me no longer being able to work because now I'm bedridden and I can't walk, can't do anything. Now I'm laying in the bed. This is where the self-accountability really took you. And I'm laying there crying because I can't provide how I'm supposed to provide as a man. And now many people are like, but it's not your fault. You're right, it's not. However, if I had taken this journey of life more serious in my 20s, and here's the thing, we all get the opportunity. We all get exposure to the light. But many of us do not take advantage of it. We think we just got time, or even worse, we think it's somebody else's responsibility, or we think that the creator is some fairy godmother who's just gonna drop all of our wishes and whims on us that we want. And if we get in trouble, then we're the damn princess in the castle top that somebody else is gonna come save us. And that's not how life works. So I didn't have anything to fall back on in that moment. And I said, moving forward, I'm sorry. Also, this is where some of my, legal issue, a couple of legal issues started coming up, where things were done illegally that I'm still fighting in court to this very day, until the recording of this video. But when I was laying there in that bed and I was blaming everybody else for all the things that I had going wrong in my life, I said, this does not change my situation. I'm not blaming anyone else. All of this is my fault. It is my fault. It's not my fault that I was hit, but it's my fault that I didn't take care of myself. It's not my fault that I was living the life that I was programmed to live, but it's my fault that I didn't change how I was supposed to change. So I said, from this point moving forward, I'm going to take responsibility for everything. I want to tell you all this. I am the product of a man and a woman who decided to get pregnant with a child at the age of 13 and 15. So you can imagine the lack of life lessons that I learned or did not learn from my parents. They did the best that they can do. I don't blame them. They were great parents to be individuals who got pregnant with a child at 13 and 15. My life could have been way worse, but there were a lot of things that I didn't learn. Now I could easily have been like, I had teenage parents and my father wasn't there and I just didn't get the things that I need. I could have said that, but I said, you know what? I'm not responsible for the fact that I was born to teenage parents, but I am responsible for not getting what I need to get right now to make me the man that I need to be to take care of my responsibilities. That's where I took responsibility at. That's where my self-accountability came in at. I may not be able to control all of the inputs, but I can control the outputs. And then in the things in which are outputs that I can control, well, I can fully control those. So it was my fault that I ended up having all of these children by multiple women. That was my fault. So now I have to figure out, how can I make sure that my children get what it is that they need to succeed as best as possible? There's some things that they're not going to be able to get as best as other children, because other children, my children who don't live in the household with me, for other children, their father's there every single day. Some of my children live out of state. I can't be, in their life every single day, but I knew there were things that I could do to make things better. So I took full accountability of my life. In addition to the car accident and not being able to walk and having to have back surgery, in addition to that, I had a situation, and I can't go into detail because I'm, still dealing with the legal ramifications, getting this thing all cleared up. But I will say that in self-defense, I had to use deadly force to protect myself, as well as my pregnant wife and my 1-year-old child at the time. And in me having to defend myself, I ended up being charged and going to jail and being arrested. This is why I said it was still my fault. Because in that instance, what I was doing at the time, the work that I was doing or attempting to do at this time, I'm still healing from my back surgery. I'm still healing from my back injury. My back is still not fully where it needs to be. So I'm already struggling with that. But in addition to that, now I have this issue. And so where my income, my ability to generate income was already minimized from the things that I'm able to do because of my back, then it became even more minimalized because of the charge that I received, a felony charge. So Still my fault though, because I didn't take full advantage of what it was that I was supposed to be doing. I didn't take life serious. That's no one else's fault but mine. And in your life, when you're not taking life serious, it's no one else's fault but yours. You may not be able to control all of the inputs of your life, but you can damn sure control all of the outputs. You can. You can control what it is that you do in your life to get you the way you need to get to. So because I didn't set myself up properly, there were necessities that I was not able to provide as a man. But, this is a big but. With all of that being said, and those trials and many other trials that I've been through, and we all go through them. I'm not exempt. Everyone goes through something. What reigns true is that everything works for the greater good of those who are called and those who are chosen. This is what I want you all to remember. We all have a special creative skill, gift, or talent that we were put here to perform on this earth. So newsflash, everyone is called and chosen. Everyone has a different calling and a different choosing, but we all have a calling and are chosen for something. So that means that everything works together for the good of those who are called and chosen applies to you and everyone else. But it applies if you allow it to. So we all have a calling. We all are chosen for something. We all have a unique skill. Everybody does. Everyone has a talent. So understand this. The trials and tribulations that you go through are for your good. So in my trials and tribulations, because my natural skill is to teach and speak, I wasn't operating in that. So when I was out with my back and I couldn't walk, because I couldn't walk, I couldn't do physical work. See, for me, the physical work was easy. It's like, oh, I'm working with my hands. It didn't allow me to fully operate in my natural gift or my natural skill. It was the easy way out. Even though my natural skill is easy for me to do, I didn't have the confidence in myself to do it. So I just did what was easy. And then I blamed it on, oh, this is what men do. Men work with their hands. That ain't what I was put here to do. Some men are put here to work with their hands. I'm not. Some men's gift, skill, like their highest gift and skill is to work with their hands. My highest skill and gift is not to work with my hands. Now I can, but that's not my highest skill and gift. So what that ability to not do physical work caused me to do was to build this so that way I can use my natural gifts. Here's the crazy thing though. Once I was able to start back doing physical stuff at a limited capacity, I went back and instead of continuing, building up my natural gift or operating in that, I went back to what was familiar and comfortable, trying to do physical work. And then this situation happened. This situation I was telling you all about. And in this situation happening, all of the contracts and all of the opportunities that I had, it literally all went away. And I remember, and it's so crazy because it's like I got an email from all of my contractors that I was working through almost at the same time. And I remember laying on my sofa and saying to myself, I know exactly what this is. I know exactly what this is. And I remember having a vision of me standing at a fork in the road. And in that fork in the road, it was one way to go toward self-pity, and there was another way to go toward empowerment. And I remember becoming upset in my head and saying, I will never be in a position where my ability to produce with my family is controlled by another individual, ever. And I said, you know what? Most High Yah, I said, I see what you're doing. I prayed in that moment. I see what you're doing. I'm not even naive to what you're doing to me. I said, but if you really want me to operate how you want me to operate, I need you to create the environment for me to operate that way. If you want me to focus on building up these skills that you've given me as natural abilities, I need you to make sure that everything that I'm supposed to take care of gets taken care of. That's what I need. If you want me to do what I'm supposed to do, I need you to cover me. I need you to go and fight my battles while I'm preparing myself how you need me to be prepared. And he came through for me in the clutch. He did. And I'm still going through trials and tribulations like I told you all. That situation happened back in 2021. We're in 2023 and I'm still dealing with it. But it ain't stopped this show. Other legal matters happened in 2020. I'm still dealing with them. They ain't stopped them show. So you got to stop letting trials and tribulations bring you down, because once again, like I said, those trials and tribulations are bringing you that in which you yearn for. There was a certain life that I wanted to live, but I wasn't aiming high enough to get that life. I was doing what I thought was the right thing, but that wasn't the right thing to live the life that I wanted to live. So these trials and tribulations came not as punishment, not as something to beat me down or to make me quit in life. No, they came to give me the life that I want to live and the life that the Most High know I'm supposed to be living. And the same thing is happening to you. You just have to embrace it and figure out how to use it to your advantage. That's my spiel. I'm sorry. I'm going to get back to the video. Let's get into it. What is the key to increase your income? Most people who are working out of fear. It's either fear of poverty or fear of what other people are going to think of them. And that fear has them operating only within their scope of knowledge. They go job hunting in fear, and then they sell themselves short. They operate in desperation and just take whatever's offered to them just to say they have a job. When I first moved here to Atlanta, I moved here because there was an opportunity in the trucking industry. I had a friend who was in the trucking industry. He said, I have an opportunity for you. I want you to come work for me for a little bit. I'm going to teach you the trucking business, and then I'm going to send you out on your way. I don't even want you working for me to work for me. I just want you to work for me so I can show you the trucking industry. He said, just get your CDLs. I found a trucking school that paid me to go to it. So they paid me to then give me my CDLs. But I had to come up here to Atlanta. So I came up here to Atlanta. That situation with the trucking opportunity fell through. Something happened with my friend. He wasn't able to follow through on what it was that we had agreed upon. Life happens, no big deal. I did get my CDLs though. But because things didn't stay in alignment with how they were supposed to, I eventually was homeless and had to sleep in the back of my truck. I didn't have a rig truck. I had an SUV, a regular SUV at the time, and I had to sleep in the back of my SUV for some time. Here's the funny thing. Many people would be embarrassed to sleep in their car. Rightfully so. It can be an embarrassing endeavor, but sleeping in my car put me in an environment that forced me to grow. If I was afraid to sleep in my car, if I said, I don't have a place to stay, I don't have a place to live, I'm going to go back home, I would have missed out on a lot of blessings. See, not only did I have to sleep in my car, I was new to Atlanta. I didn't know the Atlanta area, and I had never been to Atlanta before. I was sleeping in my car at a truck stop, for those of y'all who know Atlanta, in Bankhead. But because I was strong enough to go without shelter temporarily, and I didn't allow the thoughts of others to shape and mold what my decisions were going to be, that sacrifice turned into the biggest blessing of my life. I stayed here. I didn't go back home. And I eventually met my wife. And I know for a fact that had I went back home, I would have missed out on the biggest blessing that I had received in my life. You are rewarded when you overcome your fears. So how are you the key? They say the cream rises to the top. You will increase your income when you're operating in your natural skills, talents, and gifts. And there are two reasons why this is. Reason number one, your natural skills and gifts will make you far supreme over the competition in that area or in that arena. When you show up confidently in your natural abilities and skills, you receive preferential treatment because that thing is for you. Reason number two, the law of attraction and the law of radiance works with energies. You get back what you put out. This is why it is written to be a cheerful giver. And this is why the ancient texts focus on the heart and not deeds. Because what you give out is energy. You can give out $1 million to an orphan kid. And if you do that begrudgingly, or you do that without sincerity in your heart, or you have any type of malice or ill will for doing that deed, doesn't matter. The $1 million isn't the thing. It's the energy that you gave with it. So when it talks about the law of radiance, as you have to become what it is that you want, and the law of attraction, you attract to you the things in which you put out. If you're putting out negative energy behind a large lump sum of giving, the gift is not what's coming back to you. The energy is what's coming back to you. So when that energy comes back to you, the energy that you're going to get back is that begrudging energy. It's not going to be the energy of free giving. No, that's not what's coming back. It's the energy that you put out. That's why it's also written that when you do your work as if you're working for the master, the creator, the most high, and not as if you're working for an earthly master. And that's because what you put out is what you get back. This is a great saying, and this is something that I apply to my life, and I want you all to take it and apply to your life as well. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you are at work and you are cutting corners, hot dogging it, flat out half-assing your job, you think you're going to start a business for yourself, and just because it's yourself, you're going to do something different? No, you're going to do the same thing that you were doing before. And that's because that's what you put out. Not only is that what you put out, but those are the habits that you built. That's why how you do everything is how you do anything. So whatever habits that you put out, that's what you're going to carry into whatever else that you're doing moving forward. That's why for those of you all going back to weightlifting, is you have to have good form. So no matter if you're lifting the bar or you're lifting your personal best, you have to have the same form. There's no way that you warm up and you all over the place with the bar, and then when you go to do your personal record, that you're not going to be all over the place. And it's the same thing for those of you all who played sports. How you practice is how you're going to play. It's the same thing in life. This is why it's important to understand the energies that you put out. It's not about the action. It's about the intent behind the action. That's what's going to come back to you. This is why this is important to point number 2. If you are operating and you're doing work in your natural skills or gifts, what type of energy do you think you're going to put out? You're going to naturally put out great, vibrant energy. You're going to naturally put out good energy. So when you're operating in your skill or gift, and that's the work that you're doing, and you keep it about your skill or gift, and you operate in gratefulness that you're able to do this, what type of abundance do you think is going to come back to you? How can you use DiSC to increase your income? If you are starting from scratch and you have no idea what you're interested in, first off, I'm gonna let you know it's okay. It's okay to not be a know-it-all. It's okay to not know everything. It's okay. It's okay to be at a stage of your life to where you don't know yourself. I promise you, there are billions of people who are in the same predicament that you are. It's okay. Move past that, because we're going to get you to a point to where you have a baseline to start at to figure it out. Once you take your DiSC assessment, there are 4 sections that I want you to focus on. Remember, we're talking about how to use DiSC to increase our income and how to use our natural skills and gifts that we're talking about. So there are 4 sections that I want you to focus on. But before you get to those 4 sections, once you figure out what your dominant personality type is, I want you to do a quick Google search. Just go right to Google. And I want you to look up, insert personality type, careers, or careers for personality type. Example, I'm a high D, high I. I would enter careers for D personality types, or high D personality styles, or high I, whichever one I want to use. Remember, I showed you all, and I'll show it right here again. My D and my I are equal, so I can go either way. So the first thing you want to do is go to Google, search for careers that are most beneficial for your personality type, and then just do a little research. Just see what piques your interest, what intrigues you. There are going to be some things in there you'll be like, nah, that's not for me. But you want to make sure that you're kind of giving yourself some ideas, because like I stated earlier, when people are out looking for jobs, they only look in the area that they have knowledge in. You can't know what you don't know. Very simple. And that's how, when I came up here to Atlanta, I knew I need to make a lot of money. And at that time, the only way I really knew to make a lot of money, and that was stable from my research, was truck driving. That's what I went into. Had I known what my dominant traits and skills were and my gifts, and had I done the research on how to do that, I would have had a different story, a different picture. But I did something different, and it's okay. It all worked out for me. So you have to do the same thing. In the DiSC assessment that you take, or that you are going to take, these are the 4 pages that I want you to focus on. The ideas for being more effective, the ideas for staying more motivated, strength-based insights, and then the last page is ideal job climate. The reason why these pages are important is because the specialist meant, hey, look, we have to work anyway. We have to work. We have to produce. We have to provide. But somehow we got this notion that our production and provision has to come with us being miserable. It does not. It does not. You don't have to be miserable to work. You can enjoy your work. You can enjoy the things you do. And guess what? Just because you're enjoying your job, that does not mean you're lazy, and that does not mean it's not work. Like, we have to start focusing on, like, what's the big picture? The big picture is to make sure that I'm doing what I need to do morally, ethically, and righteously for my family, or for those that I am called to either lead, shepherd, or be over. So if I go to work and I'm laughing every day, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't have to go to work and dread being there. So we have to get that out of our mind. Like, forgetting not forgetting the DiSC, but just understanding that the DiSC will be most effective once you start changing some of your thought patterns. It's okay to enjoy work. It's okay. Nothing's wrong with you. It doesn't mean that your work isn't important. It doesn't mean that your work isn't meaningful. You can enjoy work. So do that. So since we can enjoy doing work, you might as well do something. And since you have to provide and you have to have provisions for these people that you are called to be over, you might as well enjoy it while you have to do it. And this is what these pages are going to help you cultivate. Let's look at a few of mine from each page. So underneath the ideas for being more effective, I'm going to read off a couple of mine. And it's just so you know exactly how to do what it is that you're doing. And this is how I was able to do what it is that I'm going to show you all later. So here are a couple of mine. Ideas for being most effective. I could be more effective by having freedom to express my own ideas and initiatives and creativity. Also, by having variety, many activities, and an occasional surprise that keep me from getting bored. Also, remembering that not everyone shares my high sense of urgency, and also having an opportunity for rapid learning, a broad scope of responsibilities, and advancement. So these are my ideas for being more effective. So you want to take that, you want to take your notes, write those down, especially the things that are intriguing, because once again, we're using this information to help us cultivate an environment where we can utilize our greatest skills to increase our income. Remember, we're focused on increasing our income. I'm going to show you how to put this together in a bit. Next, we have ideas for staying more motivated. So for me, it says I need a variety of opportunities to demonstrate my skills and abilities. An environment offering freedom of movement and traveling. An environment with new problems to solve and new goals to achieve. A forum in which to offer your ideas and solutions, and an environment with little or no work routine. Now, these are my ideas for staying more motivated. So I'm going to write these down. When you're going through yours, you're going to write yours down, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with these. Let's keep going. Next, we have strength-based insights. So these are the following highlight the specific strengths of my behavior style. So I'm excellent in presentations to large or small groups. I bring a poised confidence and engaging message to any audience. I'm very skilled at verbal expression. I can deliver the same message using a persuasive style or an authoritative style with equal confidence. I'm a very active agent in all that is due. And I'm excellent at initiating activity and direction for the team or organization. So I'm just going through, once again, you're going to read all of yours, but I'm just highlighting you all the ones of mine that really stick out. And we're going to move to the last section, ideal job climate. So this is based on how I prefer to behave. This is an ideal climate for me. And this is one that I need to be provided with. Challenges in building a new territory or network of people. Freedom from detail. A climate that supports innovative ideas for success in the future. Non-routine assignments. Opportunity to see immediate results. The information that you have in front of you, or that you will have in front of you when you're doing your DiSC, may seem like a table full of puzzle pieces. But these puzzle pieces make up the larger picture of your income dreams. You're going to have to find the pieces and figure out how to put them together, but I'm going to show you how. The first thing that you need to do is you need to stop and you need to think. Before you act, you must plan. I've been reading the book, $100 Million Leads by Alex Hormozi. And in that book, Alex tells a story about how he has to make $50,000 in a month. And so when he realized he has to make $50,000 in a month because he has to pay the people that are working for him, and he had a whole bunch of process issues. Go read the book. It's a wonderful story. The first thing he did was he woke up because he was anxious. He was having trouble sleeping. And he was saying how like a car horn or a train came by like 3 o'clock in the morning and woke him up. And he was like, well, since I'm up, let me go ahead and start working on this problem. So he sat and he thought about all of the things that he could do to make $50,000 in a month. And as he started thinking, this is why planning is important. For people like myself, like I'm a high D. So me being a high D, I kind of like jump out the plane and build the parachute on the way down. And sometimes I hit the ground without the parachute opening up, metaphorically. In this stage of him planning, what he did was take a look at all of his opportunities. So basically, if we think about it, for those of y'all who are familiar with a SWOT analysis, he took a look at all of his opportunities and then all of the threats to the opportunities. That's the last two parts of a SWOT analysis. And some of the ideas on paper sounded good. But once he kind of took them out and kind of broke them down, he was like, no, this isn't going to work. Now, eventually, he came up with an idea that not only made him the $50,000, it actually made him like $100,000. And it was the start of one of his companies. Like this, kind of how he started in the company that he had created that took him to be, you know, $100 million man. So the first thing you need to do is stop and plan. Start piecing together the information and researching opportunities that utilize your skills. So that's the first thing you're going to do. We touched on it earlier when you found that your dominant personality type and you kind of looked at careers or opportunities that correlated with that. But now you want to go a little deeper. So you want to take this information that you have, take the highlights from them 4 sections that we just went over, and then you want to start researching opportunities that utilize these things the most. So if we go back to mine, let me give you an example. Based off of my information that I have here, if we just go and highlight the things that I touched on earlier, I need freedom to express my own ideas. Okay, what are some jobs that I could do that allow me to freely express my own ideas? What are some things that I can do that allow me to have freedom of movement and travel? What are some things that give me a variety of opportunities to demonstrate my skills and abilities? What are some opportunities that allow me to give presentations to large or small groups, as well as make quick decisions, verbal expression, be able to verbally express myself, allow me to set high goals for other people and help them achieve those goals, allow me to initiate activity, be a very active agent, freedom from details, challenges in building new territories or networks of people, non-routine assignments. Like, what opportunities gave me the ability to do all of those things? If you all are looking, you can see a theme here. And that theme is one of my greatest skills is actually the weakness of over 90% of the world. Just take a wild guess on what that skill is. The rest of the world, 90% of the world is afraid to speak in front of others. But do y'all remember one of my ideal climates? And now if we go back and we take a look, one of my strengths is presentations to large and small groups. About 90% of the world is afraid to speak in front of people. That's my strength. Two more of my strengths that is a weakness for a majority of the rest of the world is being a self-starter and making quick decisions. One of the things that I've learned about the DiSC assessment is the majority of people in the world, they're actually S personality types. And the S personality types are those supportive, but in them being supportive, they don't really like to push the envelope. They kind of like the status quo. They kind of like, vanilla mayonnaise, like just keep things plain Jane. That's them. And so because they like to keep things plain Jane, when it comes time to make a decision that's different than what it is that they're used to, it's hard for them to make that decision. And it's also hard for them to make quick decisions. They don't like to be rushed. People who are high S personality types do not like to be brushed or forced into a decision. They like to take their time. And the main reason why is because they want to make sure they do not have to change the status quo. Me, or I wouldn't even say me, high D personality types, their main focus is the bottom line. Our main focus is the bottom line. What is the bottom line and what gets us there? Is the bottom line something completely new? Well, then we're going to run with that. Is the bottom line what we've already been done? Well, then we don't need to even waste our time thinking about all these other options. What we're doing works better than anything that we have an opportunity to do. So my strengths are majority of the world's weaknesses. So do you already see how just me operating in my natural ability puts me at, remember I said the cream rise to the top? It already puts me at the top. I like talking in front of groups of people. 90% of the world does not. So I'm already at the top. Just imagine if you're at a company and a presentation has to be done and the boss gives the presentation, says, hey, who wants to do the presentation? And you're a high D, or you're me. You have my character traits. I'm going to naturally be the one that does that. Or let's just say we have a competition and the other people that I'm competing against are people who are high S's. I'm going to automatically blow them out the water because that's not their strong suit. High S's are reserved. They don't like to be out in front. They don't like the attention being on them. Me being a high D, high I, I love it. So I'm going to naturally trump them in any speaking engagement. Just off of skill alone. Now, there are some things that they would trump me in. But based off of this is operating when you operate in your natural gift, you automatically rise to the top. Every personality style has a strength that is a weakness for the other three. Every one of them does. For D's, it's the ability to make quick decisions and get the job done and lead. For I's, it's the ability to inspire and to talk. For S's, it's the ability to support and listen. And for C's, it's the ability to be organized and detail oriented. Everyone has a strength that not everyone else can do. So even if you are part of the majority of an S, if you get to where you are supporting someone, especially someone who is, let's just say a high D, first off, you have a better attention to detail than that person that's a high D. So though they're the one creating all the ideas and going to get stuff done, you're going to see things that they didn't see. And that makes you invaluable, because those things that you see that they might not see are things that may sink them or make them successful. So you will become invaluable. You will be invaluable to a high D. And then you balance them out, because D's are always bursting with energy, whereas S's are not. So you naturally balance that person out. Sometimes you bring that energy down. Sometimes situations don't always need a burst of energy. So you're the one that, hey, let's just bring it in. So if you're an S type and you're dealing with someone who's an I, I's love attention. They love attention. If they're not getting attention and they don't have someone supporting them, they will fall into a state of depression. But if you're an S, just you simply sitting there, and you do this naturally. Like you can sit there and you can listen to an I and you won't even think anything about it. But you giving them that support and them having someone that is taking in what it is that they're doing or putting on or whatever their showmanship is, that gives them confidence and that keeps them out of that state of despair or depression. So we all have a gift that the majority of others don't have, but you have to operate in that gift. If you're a high S and you find yourself trying to, not saying that you can't, and I want you all to also remember, everyone has a mixture of these. I want to show you all my personality graph again. My I and my D are high. But if you look at my S is also above average. It's in the 50s. So though I lead and inspire and talk and generate ideas and move people to do what they need to do, there's still a component of me that knows how to serve others. Now, it's not a high service, but it's above average. It's above the norm. So I know how to support others comfortably. Not as comfortable as leading and inspiring, but if all this fails, I can get the job done. So people who are high S's, you naturally support others. You're the salt of the earth. Like, you don't want that literally keeps everything going. Everyone has the same opportunities. You just have to discover them and put them to play so that they work for you. In your discovery, whatever it is that you discover, when you put it in play, you then have to be consistent at it. Nothing's going to work unless you do, and nothing's going to work unless you do it consistently. So you have to be consistent in what it is that you're doing. Here's a secret that I learned about making money from Myron Golden. If you find a problem to solve for a large enough group of people, hold on. I need you all to listen to this. Write this down if you don't pay attention to anything else I've said in this video to help you increase your income. Pay attention to this. If you find a large enough crowd that has a problem that you can solve, and in solving that problem, you are using your greatest skills, talents, and gifts, You will never have to worry about money again. You will literally turn into a money printer. That's the secret. Find a problem that needs to be solved for a large enough group of people and solve that problem using your greatest skills and gifts, and you will never have to worry about money again. Share this video with 2 or 3 people. Remember, there is abundance in your skill and gift. So keep digging, because you never know when you're going to hit gold.